Good evening, everyone. Good evening to you at home. Good evening to you on the toilet. You know who you are. There's always someone on the toilet when they're listening to stuff. Usually that's where Gonzo used to be until he got his man cave. And good evening to yourself, Gonzo. How are you?
Oh, I'm not too bad, thank you, sir. How are you?
Yeah. Alright, the hair's starting to give me a bit of grief. It's getting too long to sort of manipulate, if you like.
Can I say I did notice in the Matty Etherington interview? I thought, there's a man whose hair's getting carried away with itself.
Yeah, it's. I was gonna leave it. I wasn't even gonna do anything tonight. I thought it's just leave it scruffy. But then when I sat down, I could see myself on the camera. It looks a lot different to what I see in the mirror, for some reason. That makes sense.
No, it does, and of course, hair grows more quickly in Scotland, as everybody knows.
Yeah, fun fact for those that you don't know. Anyway, this is show 985, not 985 cups of tea. Christ, we've not been going that long. 985 on this channel. And so for our 1000, we're going to do a slightly different cup of tea, where it's sort of ask us anything. Anything goes. So if you've got any questions for us, put them down below. And on the 1000 show, we're going to have a cup of tea. Might even change it. Might have a alcoholic beverage that night. Oh. Yeah, treat yourself, spoil yourself. Depends.
A bottle of beer.
Depends if we can get to the shop, but we will endeavour to go and get one and then sit down and answer your questions. We've only really got one topic tonight, Gonzo. Got lots of questions on social media to get through towards the end of the show and the middle of the show. But one big topic. You ready for it? It's a juicy one. So, West Ham, as you can tell by the title of the video, need to raise 30 million quid. Well, they need to raise more than that, but they're going to aim to raise 30 million quid with a rights issue for their shareholders. Perhaps not surprising, Gonzo, and perhaps a good way of doing it as well.
Well, they have to, for starters. I think. Well, look. First of all, you've got to. We've got the loan situation where you have the 40 million outstanding, was due to be paid back in January. They deferred it, obviously, without knowing any of this sort of stuff was going to happen. And it's probably quite a good job that they did. Bearing in mind the financial uncertainty going forward, they can't really. Excuse me, I've got a cup of tea on the way here. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Good service.
Not bad, is it? I'll tell the postman round here. Oh, something special. I'll tell you. They had to do it. Realistically, because they couldn't do the loan because of the financial uncertainty, as I was going on to say before I was rudely interrupted by the postman. It is the right thing to do, but I look at it, and I think the thing is with a rights with a share issue and a rights issue is that there are no more shares available. Okay, and what I mean is there's no more. Proportionately, there's no more of the club left available than there already is. So someone owns 50%, someone owns 30%. There's some Trip Smith owns 10%, and someone so small. But I think Karen Brady owns 3.5%. Terence Brown owns 5%. So what happens is the share issue goes out, and it's an invitation to all shareholders to plough some money in, and they create some new shares. Now, if not everybody takes that option up, then everybody else's shares are watered down. They still have as many shares, but their stake in the club is less. So I would imagine it's going to be a funny one. What I find interesting here is because Sullivan owns more than Gold. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw the whole 30 million paid in by Sullivan, and then Gold's stake is watered down. If not, I can see Gold putting in some money. What I can't see is Trip Smith, Brady, Terence Brown. I forget the other one. All putting in some more money, so I think their shares will get watered down. So it's quite an interesting.
I actually think it's going to be Tripp that puts the money in.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think it'll be David Gold. I think because David Gold sold his shares to David Sullivan in the past, hasn't he? So I think David Gold's almost like, oh, that's me. I'm at my maximum now. I'm not retiring. He's not looking to sell his shares. He's happy with what he's got, and he doesn't really want to get any more, kind of thing. I think Sullivan might take some, but I think if anyone else takes some, I think it'll be Tripp. I think he's. It's almost like it's like the graph thing we're going through in life at the minute, the whole up and then it goes down kind of thing, and it plateaus somewhere. There's a peak in the middle. I think Gold's on the way down. I think Tripp's on the way up. Tripp's aim surely.
That's interesting.
Tripp's aim
it's interesting how you've read it differently. Yeah.
Tripp's aim surely to get eventually to have perhaps not 100% control in his name, but certainly be a large part of the 100%. That must be his aim, right?
Well, I didn't think so. No.
So what do you
I
think
don't
he's
think.
doing?
No,
Trying
I
to
don't
make
think. I
profit
don't think he
out of
wants
it?
to own the club at all. No, I think he wants to. I think the idea of him being involved was to facilitate somebody else taking over, so he had a bargaining chip. I think in the looking at the current climate, I wouldn't be surprised if Trip Smith regrets number one having owning 10%, and certainly regrets having loaned the club an interest-free loan, because I would imagine he's looking at it. Ain't nobody going buying any football clubs anytime soon, or anything, because because no one's going to have any money. People, unless you're Amazon or somebody, I might have said it earlier on, but unless you're Amazon, Tesco, people like that, Andrex, you're losing money at the moment. Um, yeah, it was funny. I read it. I thought, I bet he's sort of regretting it. It will be interesting to see if he increases his stake. I saw it as a power, not as a power grab, because Sullivan has the money, but almost a means of making himself more powerful within West Ham. But they do have to do it, because this is not something that they can let wither on the vine, because this is their investment. And whether you believe the story that it's a boyhood club, I do believe that, of course. But whether you think it was an investment of love and an emotional investment from the club that they love, or you think it was a financial investment to sell up, move to Olympic Stadium and get a profit, whatever it is, they can't allow, so for instance, what's happening to Debenhams at the moment, and for it to go into administration. So they're going to have to keep propping it up, because they have so much whatever emotional energy, money, time invested. They got 10 years invested in what they hoped would be a financial flip, I guess. I think it is really interesting.
Well, see, the thing that makes me think it's not Sullivan and Gold. Like I said, I think Sullivan will take some of it. I think Gold, not too sure about. The other ones, Brown, Brady, and there's a group or a family attached to the Brady share, but I'm not sure who it is. I don't see why they would get involved in it. That's a lot of money for such a small stake in the club. I think it's the other three that you're looking at here. And if it is Sullivan and Gold, why would they not lend the club 30 million with their standard interest rate instead of the shareholder thing? Why would they not just say, here's 30 million?
I think two reasons. I think number one, the stick that they've had.
So why don't they do it interest free?
I've no idea.
That's why I think it's not them. That's why I think it's almost like an invitation to Tripp saying, come and have another slice of the pie. Because the more he buys, the more he's got to put into the club eventually, hasn't he? Eventually, 10%'s an interest, 15%, if it was to go that high or whatever, 15%, all of a sudden it's like, well, now you've got a bigger chair at the table now, haven't you? You've got to keep coming back for more and more and more. I'm not saying they're luring him in, but I do think it's an offer to Tripp indirectly to say, come on.
I mean, the other reason is they don't want to increase debt at a club. I think they made a big play at the start of the debt's still at the club, as the Lens song goes.
But surely they'll get off with it. If they were to say we have to chuck 30 million in the club, I think you'd be a pretty tough fan to say no, unacceptable. I think you've got to accept that. And if anything, I'm not saying be grateful, but you've got to very much be thankful that actually they are chucking their money in.
Yeah, I don't think it's a case of getting away with it. I think it's a case of anybody's going to be struggling to sell anything really at the end of this. I think it's not having a club that's saddled with debt. I think they're going to have to seriously reassess how much the club's worth, and everything. Everything is going to have to be reassessed how much everything's worth, be it a house, a car, or a football club. So, yeah, I can see that. I can see a massive part of that. They're not actually being debt. The club, I would imagine they wanted to get to the end of. If you'd have asked them 18 months ago, it was probably in their plan that they would have got to January just gone, and the club would be debt-free apart from the overdraft that they take on each season on season ticket money.
Yeah.
Because they would have paid back the 40 million. I would imagine the last thing they want to do is, bearing in mind they thought that they would be debt-free by now, is have a situation where actually, because it's not just the 30 million, it's the 40 as well, where they're actually the club is now 70 million in debt. Well, 10 years ago it was £100 million in debt. I don't know if it's. It's funny. It's funny how you read it differently. That was just the first thing that sprung to my mind, really.
Well, we'll have to wait and see. I think it gives a little inkling as to what the club could be worth market value as well, because eventually we'll see a change of percentage.
Yes.
A clever man will be able to work out what you've got for 30 million essentially. If Tripp, say for example, Tripp took it all and his percent jumps up to 14, everyone else loses 1%, a clever man will be able to work out what that change of percentage is worth. It's 30 million. So then you can then get the market value of West Ham United. I think that's probably more interesting from a fan's perspective, I guess. But yeah, it's just the way they've got to raise the money, I suppose. But we'll wait and see. I think there's another way. I came up with this by mistake. I came up with this on the spot. Season ticket holder money. Do you know how we're all entitled to a refund, or assuming the season's behind? The season gets played out, will be behind closed doors, right? So, so the fans will be entitled to a pro rata refund, which is 5 home games. For me and you, it's £145, right? So that's what we are. We're band for. So there'll be people with a lot more money than us.
Yes.
So if they follow Leicester City, as far as I'm aware, is the only Premier League club that's come out with something, and that is you can either have your money back or you can take off next season's ticket. It's up to the fan, and I think that's the right thing to do. I actually think if that's going to equate to, let's just say, whatever million that is, you could almost just say to the fans, do you want to own a little bit of West Ham? For your £144, you will get 0.001% or whatever it is, right? It will be nothing. It won't be worth anything, but they get to keep the £144. I write it off, you write it off. Someone watching this might have £300 worth of refunds they're entitled to. They'll write off their £300. And then in return, you get... I used to have a certificate for West Ham and Aberdeen where I owned a share, and it was worth like a £5. It wasn't anything. And then when all these takeovers come, it's sort of like compulsory purchase of your share. You basically get a letter saying it's not worth anything. But I've still got them somewhere, that little certificate saying that there's a share in my name. That
would raise, bearing in mind you say there's more than us, if we go on 50,000 season ticket holders and everyone agrees, but even if you took the average was £144, that raises 7.2 million.
There you go. There's a solution. It's not the 30 million, but it's a bit of the money. Just chucking it out there. Will it work?
Do you expect? Okay, well, 2 questions, I guess. I know you do the questions normally, but do you expect any money back? And do you want any money back? I don't mean, look, clearly you're not working at the moment, so I'm not talking about does your fridge want any money back? Do you need to go shopping? Do you need a new pair of shoes? Or what? Well, actually, you don't need a pair of shoes. No one's walking anywhere. But would you, for the health of the club, do you want your money back? Do you know what I'm saying?
I don't need my money back, but I'd like something in return.
Mm.
Which is the hence the share thing. Or I can get next season's home shirt for free. It technically will cost me £144, but if they were to say, look, if you don't take a refund, we'll send you next season's shirt. You pick home, away, third kit. You can have whatever one you want. We'll even stick a name and number on it if you want. You can get that for free, no cost, as a thank you. The club make a lot of money out of it. It looks like a goodwill gesture, but actually they're giving you a £10 shirt, and they're getting £144 back. So I want something. I want the option of the refund. I think that's the right thing to do, to let fans say, what do you want? And every fan's different, because this is where it gets a bit personal. Now, my job's okay. I think my job will remain okay. So, can I afford to write it off? Not really. I'm not rich, but I can turn a blind eye to it a little bit. As long as I don't have to take more money out of my pocket, I'm all right. But there's people watching this who've lost their jobs. They need the money back. They need the money back. There's no, we'll have the shirt. No, they don't need the shirt. They need the money back now. So the club, I think, have to offer everybody what they're entitled to back, and they just have to hope there's enough goodwill among the people that don't necessarily need it back to turn it over. And I am one of those that's willing to, but I want something in return. I don't know what. That's up for the club to come up with, and this is where the people in marketing earn their corn. They're sat at home at the minute, so they're probably trying to come up with strategies as it is. Leicester's come up with theirs. West Ham are thinking, crikey, what are we going to do? And this is where I said to you last time, this is the fans' unhappiness with the club's going to come back to bite them on the arse massively here. Because I even said to you, Leicester and Wolves will say, do you want your money back? I wouldn't be surprised if those fans turn around and say, no, you keep it. But actually, this is where bad customer service is going to come back and haunt you a little bit. But I'm happy. Are you going to give yours up?
Well, I just before I'm funny. I've been meaning to say this for quite a while. I always forget to it whenever either of us do a video. I'm just thinking about Leicester though. Before we get on to that, they've they've really set a precedent there by doing it. It's a bit like when my mate Marcus went to run the London Marathon, and he brought his sponsorship form, and I had in mind I might give him 50 pence a mile, but the old sponsorship form already been handed round to some other people. And I saw somebody else already on 2 pence for. I thought, oh no, oh god, sorry, not 2 pence, £2. Sorry.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Oh, £2 a mile, blimey. Well, I hoped he was going to sprain an ankle or something like that. But, I thought, crikey, you better not run the 26 miles, my old son. He did it in good time as well. Oh my goodness, I was scared. So, but my point is, of course, I joke, but they've set the precedent. But some clubs don't care. It's like they've set a very high, classy standards. And then you've got Tottenham and Newcastle doing the opposite. In terms of my point is, you don't know what clubs are going to do.
No.
And that's important, because it wouldn't surprise me for some clubs to ask for next season's season tickets now. Now, our club have said they're not going to do that, which is great. Somebody said to me on one of the comments on a video that Brighton had already started theirs. I'm not sure if that was true or not.
I think Everton did as well. Everton did it before Christmas.
Okay, well,
because they were down the bottom of the table, weren't they? They were down near the bottom of the table before Christmas, so they started taking in people's season ticket money in case they got relegated.
So if it came out now, see, in many respects, I haven't got the £144. In many respects, I never had it because it was paid such a long time ago. I looked, I've got to wait till June for any money to come through from the government, because I do have £144 now. Yes, that being said, we got food in the cupboards, and it's not a lot to spend money on at the moment, Geo. Do you know what I mean? It's not like you can go out. The electricity company been good in the end and stuff like that. So actually, we're all right. We can survive till June, and that's not £145. But if the opposite were to happen and they were to come out and say, can we have even just an indication of whether you'll have next month's season ticket? Bear in mind, I don't have a job anymore. I couldn't buy a season ticket for next season now. I wouldn't even commit to one. It would be the wrong thing to do as a family. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. When there's not enough work, when we don't know, when the uncertainty, it'd be really wrong of me to say, oh yeah, whatever, £600 or whatever the case may be. So yeah, I do think it's really interesting, but it's we all need a bit more certainty in everything in the football and everything else, don't we? Really.
Did you like my idea though? Turn it into shares. Would you accept a 0.01% stake in a certificate?
Oh, yes. Apart from when it tailed off, when you said the certificate you got home at the moment ain't really worth anything. I wouldn't want that to happen.
Well, perhaps you get something with it. A home shirt and 0.01%.
No. I want to show it. What I would want that to do, if they were going to do that, I would want that to come hand in hand with. Actually, let's say, I did it at £144. As you say, there's going to be some people that that are probably owed £500 or whatever. So it may well be that it's 10-15 million or something like that. With that type of investment, I would then at that point want something set up whereby we then get a fan on the board at some point, and that's what I would want for that. I'd want it to mean something. Yeah. I know my shares are only worth £144, or my bit of a share is worth £144. That's fine, but with that, I would see that as an invite. Okay, look, we're going to do this. We're going to ask you as fans to help us out. In response to that, we're going to give you what you've been asking for. We're going to shake up the fans group. We're going to do the OSB, and we can actually invite one independently elected fan representative, and change it every season or whatever, to the board. If they did something like that, I'd be right behind that, because I think actually out of a bad thing has possibly come quite a good thing. I would like it then. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Brady, if you're watching, there you go. There's an idea. You can have that one for free, and just add on to my 0.001%. Anyway, coming up, we to start taking your questions on social media. If you'd like to support Hamish Chat on Patreon, if you go to patreon.com/Hamish Chat, you can become an addict or a supporter and get exclusive content for patrons only. Anyway, enough of that. Back over to the show. Right, Gonzo, Twitter, Patreon. YouTube. Where would you like to start?
Oh, why don't we? Well, listen, I have not been on Twitter for a little while, so let's have a bit of that, shall we?
Okay, right. Let's have a little gander. See what people are saying on Twitter. Here we go. So, Irish Tommy says, would you rather finish this season if it means next season is disrupted, or scrap this one so next season can run as normal?
I would. The greedy person in me, Tommy, would take the next season because I already feel like we've had a lot of last one. I'd rather take a full season rather than the end of a. Plus the selfish West Ham fan in me, thinks we're safe anyway. So that would be something. Yeah, I think that one.
Yeah, I'm going to go for next season too, because it feels like we're already finished the season to me. I'm already in like post-season mode a little bit. But saying that, the football was to come back on tomorrow, I'd be happy. I'd be excited again. Forever Blowing Bubble says, would you rather have an FA Cup win or a Europa League win, which obviously has Champions League football the following season?
I think my natural instinct is to say the FA Cup, because I love the history of that. I couldn't. That's something tangible to me. A day out at Wembley. I also, as long as I got a ticket, I know I'd go. And I think they do some funny things, don't they, with the UEFA Cup or the Europa Cup. Chelsea played Arsenal very recently, and they sent I don't know where they sent them. They sent them to the moon or somewhere. Yeah. It was weird in a 500 seater stadium or something. I think
the stadium was big enough. You just can't get there. There's no flights.
Yeah. There was something right. So if it was right, I mean, if somewhere was in the UK, I mean, it don't have to be Wembley, it'd be Hampden Park or something. If it was somewhere in the UK, I think okay, I can get to that. Then I'll take you a Europa Cup final again if it was against a prestigious team. If it was, I don't know, Dynamo Rovers in Kazakhstan, then no, I wouldn't be so keen on it. But then I'll go for the FA Cup. Yeah, but probably FA Cup.
I don't know, because Europa League, you've had the journey, haven't you? You've done the group games and that exotic places, you've been there, but you've also probably been to other places just across the English Channel. You've been to Lille, you've been to Dortmund or something and like that. You played all these teams as well on the way. So yeah, Europa League for me, but the romantic in me does want to say the FA Cup. But also it means you guarantee Champions League football the following season. Granted, the FA Cup guarantees Europa League football the following season. To be honest with you, I'm not fussy. I'll take either. I'll take runner-up in either, to be honest with you. Jazza says red grapes or green grapes, and he has a little tip. He said you should try freezing grapes. They taste amazing when they're frozen.
That'd break your tooth, wouldn't it?
Not really. I mean, do you like an icicle out the freezer?
Well, I try not to be fair.
But they don't break your teeth, do they?
Things have got to be hard. I don't know how long the old coronavirus... Oh, sorry, I shouldn't say that. I don't know how long the old algorithm. I've done it now. I've kept my Hammers chat for the next year.
You said it twice on today's video. I was like, oh no.
Terrible. I don't know. I don't know what Jazz is talking about. Jazz has clearly gone mad. But I'll go with a red grape, Jazza, rather than the green one, I think.
Green one for me. I've never tried them frozen, and to be honest with you, not sure I will. But green grapes, I like a green grape. Sophie Ann says, would you rather have a lion-sized Mark Noble or a Mark Noble-sized lion?
Well, it depends what we're going to do with it. I mean, are we going to put a lion-sized Mark Noble on the football pitch? I mean, in which case, that's just a big version of Mark Noble. If it's actually a lion that's the size of Mark Noble,
still pretty big.
As a pet, I can still eat you technically, can't it?
It depends. I've watched Tiger King recently. I'm pretty inspired by lions not eating you all of a sudden.
Do you think she killed the husband?
100%. There's no doubt about that.
What a nutty bunch that lot were. I can't believe. You see that geezer was what do they call him? A Joe Exotic. That was David Brent. That was pure David Brent. He kept on singing the song. And a man loves a tiger, and a tiger loves a man. Wonderful.
His eyebrow piercing gave me the fear. It was just dangling.
That wasn't the worst piercing they discussed in the show, Geo.
I just thought though, if Joe Exotic come to Scotland, the wind would blow that off his head within a minute. It would be gone. He's ripped out. I just watched it. I thought, this guy's got this thing dangling there, and he's climbing around with lions and tigers. How is it not being ripped off his face? Yeah, good program. But yeah, Carol Baskin, 100% guilty.
Oh my word! She fed him to the tigers. Spoiler. Yeah, well, so you don't need to watch it now.
It's not a spoiler. We don't know if it's true.
No, we don't know if it's true.
Allegedly, it's just a belief. It's a belief. We think that she's done it. A lion-sized Mark Noble or Mark Noble-sized lion. I mean, I'm going to go for a Mark Noble-sized lion and hope that you can still pose for pictures with it, because after watching Tiger King, I sort of want to do that now. No.
The geezer had 9 wives. The other geezer had meant. Well, I'll say that. Oh my word! What a bunch!
I enjoyed his YouTube stuff. Do you know when he's in front of his green screen? He's just like, and here's her head. I've got her head in a jar. And I just thought, this guy's just nutter. And then Carol Baskin, thought nutter. And you got this woman who had her arm ripped off, went back to work the next day to work with the same animal.
I know.
Nutter.
But the guy that was grooming his wives, and he'd put them. He put them in a nasty shed until they slept with him, and then at which point they got to become one of his wives.
That wasn't Joe Exotic though. That was
that was the ponytail geezer.
Yeah.
That was the geezer.
Yeah, the one that was.
Who had an elephant as well.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I mean, you can make this stuff up. Fantastic.
Yeah. Brilliant. And we've got a Netflix video coming up soon. We were going to do it for patrons only, but if people want to watch it, we'll do it. We're going to do a Netflix show. So yeah, that's your Mark Noble lion answered without actually answering it, Sophie-Anne. Phil Trott at Dartmoor Legend, he says, in your opinion, lads, how motivated will players and fans be for the remainder of the season to play out if it happens? Teams have got stuff to play for, but has the passion, excitement and momentum gone?
Look, I think if we get to watch some football at home, and we're stuck at home, we're still not allowed out, apart from your trip to the shop and whatever, you walk around the block, whatever it might be. I think fans will be very motivated for it. I think if they announced tomorrow that they found some way and every player was happy to be in it, I think as fans would think, oh, crikey, it's been boring. We'll have that. You know what? Okay, brilliant. Okay, we get to finish up the season. Fantastic. We'd have it. How motivated to play? It's easy for us because we can still sit in our chairs and watch it and not go outside and get the lurgy. But for the players, how motivated will they be? Not very much. Everything mirrors society. There will be a certain number of players. I mean, what does Callum Hudson-Odoi think at the moment? He's already had it. It was a bit of a breeze. You're probably not that bothered. All right, you'd probably go back and play anyway. If you're a player and your child's got asthma, and you're in isolation with your family, you're probably not going to be quite so keen. So I think the fans' motivation can be very different to the players.
But how some players are ruining it for others. Some players are breaking down the defence of other players. Because with Harry Krez, we'll say I'm petrified. That's fine.
Yes.
I completely understand that. But we've got Kyle Walker arranging sex parties. We've got Jack Grealish driving around pissed. What do you mean? Where have you been in the last 24 hours?
Listen, I'm not watching the news. I'm not going on social media. Kyle Walker had a sex party.
Last week he paid 2 females to pop round to his flat. And he had to apologise. And it was officially an official apology through the Man City website. And that Kyle Walker apologised, saying, he understands what he's done is wrong and all that stuff. But he's still done it during lockdown. He still paid 2 women.
I'm surprised you can get an escort during this sort of crisis. I know you're not going to be on
Everyone's
lockdown
at
as
home.
well.
They're coining it in. Everyone's at home.
Wow.
Think about how many Kyle Walkers there are right now. Their business must be booming. They don't even have to go outside.
Well, Tottenham have got one. I'd say there's more Dembélés than Kyle Walkers, though, I find.
Well, that's my point, though. Tottenham are training in a park. Kyle Walker's having a sex party. Grealish is driving around pissed. Mountain Declan Rice snuck out for a game in the park.
Jack Grealish was mounting Declan Rice. Was that at Kyle Walker's sex party?
Jack Grealish was driving around drunk, thank you.
Oh.
None of that, thank you.
So you said someone was mounting Declan Rice, that's all I'm saying.
No, Mason mounted Declan
Rice.
Right, okay, we're moving on.
I've not watched the news for so long.
My point is, these players are doing this, so if players do come out with a violin, I perfectly understand, the ones that have been carrying on like this sort of spoil it for them and say, well, hang on a minute, those lads are obviously alright, aren't they? They're not bothered by it. And this is why I think this football camp thing's a stupid idea. They can't even stay in their big house for 2 weeks, never mind somewhere for 6 weeks, in a camp in a hotel room. Crikey, Kyle Walker's going to have everyone round.
Do you reckon he was sorry? Did he say that he apologised, did he?
Yeah, no, he's not sorry, is he?
He's not sorry.
He's only sorry he got
I reckon
caught.
he's pleased. He's happy.
To be honest with you, I'm not even sorry he's got caught. He's probably bragging about it. He says, yeah, it's sex party. Sex king.
Who's call it a party? It's only 2 of them, isn't it? It's not a party. There might have been a tiger. Was there a tiger? Any tigers involved? Mark Noble sized lion?
I don't know, but yeah, Joe Exotic, fuck him. I am the sex party. Walker Exotic. That's what it's all about. So yeah, they're sort of, I don't know, just not painting themselves in a good light at the minute, but it's just them as individuals. Carrington Lion, is Gonzo keeping his hair like that? I'm getting a bit OCD with his character.
Yeah. It's funny because he didn't mention that in his text earlier. I had a little what do you call it? WhatsApp earlier. I don't know, but I can imagine Len. I know what he's saying. He wants to change the animation if I'm keeping it like this. Len Angley, you're gonna have to. I don't know. A decision has not been made, really, mate. We will have to see. We'll have to see. I thought everyone was going to go, that's terrible, but people have quite like it. So, apart from my son, who was very upset, my mum's not too happy about it because she only, when we did the old, what do you call it, when all the family meet up on the, it's not Skype we do, you said it the other day.
Zoom.
She's not impressed. Yeah. Aside from that, it's gone down all right, the old hair. So I don't mind it.
Mark Walters, do you think the board would have furloughed their staff if we'd been mid-table and there wasn't any protests?
Yeah, I do. What I don't think, I think it would have been very, very different if we didn't own the stadium. As I say, we do not have the liability of a stadium's worth of staff and all the staff, ground staff. All I think it's easy. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easy enough when you've got probably 300-400 less staff than every other Premier League club, which we do. We don't have any stewards, any ground staff apart from the training grounds. Most, and the rest of the media who office workers who are probably still working, albeit from their laptops at home. So yeah, I think that's the deciding factor in West Ham not doing it.
I think we'd always do this, to be honest with you, because this isn't a business decision. A business decision would furlough the staff. That's what they would do. They would look at the money and do it. It's not that. It's very much a head switched on model thing to do. It's the right thing to do. Liverpool backtracking is not I'm sorry, we got it wrong. It's a commercial decision. They looked at the backlash and thought, we're going to miss out here. Yep. People are going to abandon Liverpool. We're trying to get a title here when the season's in doubt. We almost need the sympathy vote from people. We're not going to get it if we do this. But that was a commercial decision. I think they were correct to be sort of half applauded for their U-turn and stuff. But that original decision was not a knee-jerk thing. They would have sat it down, they'd have discussed it at length, and they would have decided what they were doing. Then they got their public backlash and thought, oh bugger, this isn't worth it. Reverse. West Ham would have done the same. They would have sat down, looked at what it would have cost the club to keep the staff on 100%, looked at what we would have saved, and probably thought that saving is not worth the backlash we're going to get. It's immoral. And at the end of the day, Brady can't have a political aspirations and then furlough staff while at a multi-million pounds company. I don't think she can do it for brand Brady, and it's the right thing to do. And I've seen her sticking up for herself on Twitter in the last few days. I think she's right to do it. I think it's credit to the club. Is it easier for West Ham? Of course it is, but they still deserve credit for doing it. Mikey John, what would you leave until last to eat in your fridge or freezer or larder? What's a larder?
Oh,
is that a cupboard?
A larder is before refrigeration existed.
So
a larder had a larder would have a big stone in it. So you take marble, for instance. Marble is always 20 degrees lower than the ambient temperature. So if you had a big slab of marble in your larder, it would take the temperature down. It wouldn't be quite refrigerated, but food would last longer in a larder.
Too young.
So a lot. Yeah. So well, the last thing in there. I mean, that's really that's a difficult one.
Butter.
That's a difficult one. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'll tell you what is the last thing to go. Is in and we'll go with a cupboard rather than a fridge. Is the rice. So we've got some. We've got
You
some
must have been hoarding. How did you get rice? You must have been panic buying.
Yeah, that's right. We got actually we had. I'll tell you what we did have a lot of risotto rice. Anyway. So anyways, we've got loads of this risotto rice, which we've had for bloody ages, and no one ever cooks risotto. So, really, we should make some risotto, but for some reason we don't. So that just gets left in there. We sort of eat everything else before that.
Mine would be the butter, just because I think I would eat everything else first. I mean, why would you eat butter on its own? You wouldn't, would you? So.
No, but you do. I do. I have butter on almost everything.
No, you don't. Do you have butter on chips?
Well, I have a piece of bread and butter when I have chips.
Just chips.
In fact, I have a piece of bread and butter when I have almost everything. I've mashed potato tonight. I used butter in it. I had hot cross buns the other day. I had lots of butter on them.
You're choosing stuff that naturally has butter here. You're cheating here. Would you have butter with a chicken curry?
Well, I have butter chicken actually.
Okay. Chili con carne. Would you use butter for that?
Funnily enough, and I'm not just saying this.
Piss off.
I do have a slice of bread and butter with chili con carne. Whenever I have chili con carne, I mix it with the rice, and then I'd make a sandwich. A chili con carne sandwich is.
I sort of give you that because when we have mince and tatties, I like a bit of bread and butter to mop up the gravy at the end.
Nice. Why? Yeah, why not, mate? Yeah.
So butter. Anyway, this show's gone downhill. Live chat. We'll take your questions in a bit. Which one or two more. Actually, the rest of them are all about pay. They're all about the players taking 30%. I'm going to round up with Isaac's comment here. He says, "What is?" I think it's a question, might be rhetorical. I'm taking it as a rhetorical one. So Isaac said, "Why continue to support players who are sticking by their walls and not their community? What's the point of buying Mark Noble's shirt when the guy's an average player at best and has proved that money and not the people/shirt is his priority? I will never look at football again." Now I'm going to defend Isaac because I know Mark Noble's now put £35,000 to Basildon community. Isaac made that comment prior to this coming out, so he didn't know about Mark Noble. Yeah. So I get why he's using Noble as an example. But what do you make of the football wage thing? Because you've done the agent thing earlier, which I agree with, but the footballers in particular, I mean, they've still not really come to a decision, but I still think they're getting unfair stick, Gonzo. I've thought it since it's happened, really.
Well, I'll tell you what, they need to make a decision. They're taking too long to make a decision, and that's the problem. Every time they take longer to make a decision, it should be really easy. The players on the highest wage, okay, basically they should draw a line somewhere. So the youth players and are unaffected. So those players that are on, just take something, $3,000 a week. All right. If you are on under $3,000 a week or $3,000 a week and under whatever, there's no pay cut. It's so easy to ratchet it. All right. Under $20,000 a week, then you take a certain percentage. For the moment, and I don't think it should be deferred either, because I think a deferral is just you're waiting until what? It's not like clubs are going to get this money back.
Yeah.
Okay, you've got to take the pay cut until it's better. Otherwise, you're just saddling a club with more debt. But once you've decided whatever it is, and I think it's easy because I've just made something up in a few seconds there. And maybe if you're on over $100,000 a week, something like that, you take a 40% pay cut for the moment. Yes, I watched your video the other day, and as you say, a lot of them will pay 45% tax. They're still getting tens of thousands of pounds every week. All right, they're not able to go out. They don't need it for they still, whatever mortgage they got, they're still covered by that. Believe it or not, they can still defer their mortgage, even if their mortgage is $10,000 a month. They can still defer it at the moment as well. I think it's very easy to come up with a decision and to make it.
I think as a players' union, though, the players' union are handcuffing all the players. The players can't do much because they're handcuffed by their contracts, which are being handcuffed by the players' union and the PFA. And we've seen a statement from the PFA the other day saying, "Oh, we're working to get stuff done and stuff." But I just think they're trying to. I know you've come up with a ratchet system there, and I agree something like that needs to be implemented. But I just think they're trying to just have a blanket sort of way of doing it across all clubs, across all players. I think that's just wrong. I don't think, because I think it's too easy for some people and too difficult for others. I do think a staggered one is slightly better. But it's interesting, really, because I seen someone who is high up at a leukemia charity on Twitter the other day, and he was saying that some of the Premier League's past players have been their biggest donors, and they've got some of the current Premier League players are their biggest donors. If they don't want to be named, he's not going to name who they are and stuff. He said, but they're generous donations, and he basically was saying, if you take their wages away, so he doesn't know if they will still get those donations. So he was saying that charities like his, and it's a big leukemia charity, he was saying he's a bit worried that actually their charity might miss out from these players, and they've always been supported by footballers. It's a very difficult time. There's loads of footballers doing good work in a minute. You know, Danny Rose was buying, I think he bought like a few hundred pizzas anyway to an NHS. Mark Noble's just donated 35 grand to stuff. But
and Carl Walker's keeping the escort industry going by plowing valuable funds into that. So
I'll give you that one. Right, we're going to switch over to Patreon questions. These are just questions from our patrons. As it says on tin, Jack Cable, did you see Jack Wilshere tackling his partner? He's surprised he was fit enough. Did you see it?
Yeah, I did. I think I popped it in yesterday's. Yeah, today's. Might have been today's. Can't remember. No. I think he just wanted a partner on the treatment table, really, didn't he? So he thought he'd hack down a missus. He looked good. It's quite funny actually. Bearing in mind he's fit and ready to go. I wouldn't be surprised if throughout the whole of this period, Jack Wilshere's fit and ready to play. And the moment we start, Kenny picks up a little niggle.
Brendan Stickle, dream American vacation location. Crikey, that's a tongue twister. Cheers, Brendan. New York, LA, or Florida?
It would be New York. I do love New York. I've never been to LA actually. But I think I don't know. I like all that. I like Manhattan and Central Park and all that sort of thing. Yeah, a bit of that. Down the toy shop, FAO Schwartz and all that stuff. Yeah, nice. I like it there. I
think I want to go to New York. A couple of my friends have been to New York recently, and I've got a little bit of jealousy, if you like, when you see the pictures coming through and that. You think, I wouldn't mind going there. So yeah, New York for moi. Pete Fountain, this is a really random one. I don't know what's been playing on Pete's mind to come up with this. Can we discuss the double playing of bubbles prior to kick-off? He finds it annoying. He thinks prior to kick-off we need louder, more upbeat music inside the stadium to wake the fans up. And then he's saying at half-time the entertainment's crap. He can't see beat the Batak. And the game at half-time now he struggles to see the goals, let alone the kids. And I think as a joke he says, let's get the Hammerettes back. Kyle Walker's employing them.
Okay, I think one of the worst things that ever happened to football was music being played before. I used to love going to football and being in the stadium and soaking up the natural atmosphere. As it got closer to kick-off, it got louder and louder and louder and louder. And we didn't need any manufactured sound pumped through the tannoys to get us to play bubbles. I know why playing bubbles once at the start now. The first few bars of the song, dung, 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 to get everyone in time. I'm not arguing with that, but I am talking about now. That's what I call music. 1084, whatever it is now, playing for an hour before in the stadium. I hate it. I like the natural build-up. I hate sports where when people. I quite like watching ice hockey. I haven't watched it for a little while. Quite enjoyed it. Every time someone scores with a puck, a tune starts up. But why? Why is the music playing? I don't like it. As far as the Hammerettes, I've kept quiet a lot of time with the Hammerettes. I know a lot of people like them. I couldn't stand them. I didn't know why we had cheerleaders at a football match. I've got to be honest with you. And all this there was one point somebody ran a campaign, bring back the Hammerettes. And I can't remember who did it, but the whole thing I just kept very quiet, thinking, don't ask me. Don't ask me. I don't want to bring back the Hammerettes.
I was either. I know what you're talking about, though.
It's not for me. It's none of that stuff. The music, Hammerettes, is not for me. I like football chanting and stuff like that. A bit of a dinosaur. Don't worry, we'll be gone soon. See if we step outside.
Yeah, I'm not too fussed really, to be honest with you. And the reality is, many people don't get there till 10 minutes before kick-off anyway and miss it all. And at half-time, they disappear. I couldn't even tell you what was on at half-time. I know Beat Batak's on because of people joking about it on Twitter. If it wasn't for Twitter, I wouldn't even know what happens at half-time. But I tell you what, I think Pete's been watching Sunderland till I died again because they've got the new on this series this season. Have you watched it yet? No. Series
no, but
2.
I must. So many people are speaking about
Series 2 at the start of it, they've got the new owners now and the new chairman, and I think it's the managing director. He calls a meeting with like the media team or whatever, and he says, right, we need new music. That music's too slow. It's too like sad. So one of the women was like, "Oh, I've been playing it since like the 20s or something." And he's like, "No, I don't care." So he starts playing music and he turns his laptop volume right up and he's standing there like this. It's like Ibiza rave music or something. And he's proper standing there like this, like, but like this, guys, this is what we need. And he just zooms in on them all and they're all like, yeah. But then during the series, the next stage is he's on the middle of the pitch and he's on the radio to the guy in the crowd and the ground's empty and he's saying, "Turn it up." So the guy's like, he's like, "Louder." He's like, until the music's like pounding, and he's like, "That'll do." So he's like, "Right, let me check it from the changing room." So he's going in their way change room, thinking, "We need it louder in here to annoy this lot. We need to do something." For some reason, this guy is really into his Ibiza music, and he's determined Stadium Light would have it and get it rocking. That's what he wanted. Fish Place. As much as I don't want to see Liverpool win the league, should the Premier League owners vote on making them champions?
I think it's the right thing to do. I think look, you can't have it both ways as well. I mean, people go on about Liverpool and they call them that they act like victims and all the rest of it. Look, if you don't like it, hand it the title, because I'll tell you what, because otherwise next season you'll hear all about it. And I think rightly so. They have won the title. I don't even think Manchester City would argue. I just don't. No, look, I really would. I've said this from day one. I think the relegation places are different because it's all too close. The league is not close, and I do think the other flip side is if they don't, Man City remain champions for 2 years, double champions basically, in a year when they've been caught cheating. And I've listen. I don't agree with the financial fair play rules. We've discussed that. We discussed it on videos. But you can't have that as basically it will look in the history books like Man City have had this. Well, they won. It will look like they've won 3 in a row when they haven't, and stuff like they'll be champion. They get to keep the trophy. They don't deserve to keep the trophy. Liverpool deserve the trophy.
So if Man City were in Liverpool swaps spaces as we speak, would you give Man City the title?
If Man City had won 20 odd points clear. Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%, yeah.
Null and void your cheating argument though a bit, doesn't it?
Oh right, what if they've been caught cheating? Well,
you said they've been caught cheating this year, so you don't want to see them be title winners, if you like.
No. With the context that they're 20 odd points behind, otherwise you're keeping them as champions, even though they've lost the title by 20 odd points.
We just wouldn't have a champion. It'd just be a blank, empty space.
Well, yeah, but they would still keep the trophy. The trophy would still reside in their trophy cabinet until someone else wins it. That's what happens when tournaments get cancelled.
There'd be nothing engraved on the bottom of it, though, would it? I still think I would.
I think Liverpool deserve it, mate. I think they're the champions.
I also would give Liverpool the title as well because I think they're so far clear. I think if this season is a write-off, at least let one fan base win. At least let one, instead of having 20 sad fan bases. Let's have 19 sad fan bases and one happy one. Let's do a little bit of good. They'll always have an asterisk next to it. We'll always say Liverpool 2020 asterisk, and then you'll scroll down and say season was not completed. Yeah. That's the punishment. Well, not the punishment. That's the unfortunate thing for them. It will always be a dark league title, and in 50 years' time, it'll be a pub quiz. What was unique about Liverpool's title win in 2020? We know the answer. Duncan, he's asking what our football team would be from people that go on the boats. We'll do that in a different video. It's a long answer. It's 11 people we need to come up with. And he's asking who would be the first one to get drunk at 8 a.m. club next season. That is your son, Duncan. Ash, I'm afraid. You've set, and I think you know it's your son. You've set him up for that. And last one from patrons before we switch to YouTube is Rebecca says, if you could pick any team in the championship to come up, whom would it be?
QPR, because it would cheer my brother up.
Well, Millwall for rivalry, but apart from Millwall, Leeds, I think they're a massive club. I'd like to see Leeds come up as well. Not been to Elland Road, but like to go to Elland Road. So definitely Leeds. Some questions that were submitted on YouTube prior to us going live. Then we'll switch to live chat. So if you're watching live on YouTube, get your questions in, and we'll get to them in a second. Brian Patterson, he was thinking there must be a few players who probably played their last game for West Ham, and time will tell. You've got to agree with that, really, haven't you?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. But it all depends how long this goes on for. Obviously, Zabaleta has. Obviously, Sanchez has. People like that we know.
Well, I see the sad thing is David Silva's possibly played his last game at Man City and won't get a goodbye. I find that quite sad. Our ones are not too bad, Zabaleta and Sanchez. We can shrug them off a little bit. But for David Silva, someone who's done such a good service to that club, isn't going to get their farewell in front of their own fans. I find it a bit... Maybe he'll get one later on in the year and stuff. But
I'm sure they'll invite him back. I bet at the moment David Silva don't give a damn. It is in such a state of mourning, that country of Spain. It is in. We don't quite understand what it's like over there yet. It's David Silva will be worried about his family and his friends and so bad over there. I'm pretty sure almost by the time it's finished, everyone will know someone that's been impacted by it. But I'm sure they'll do something. It's a funny one. It's a funny one. All this stuff actually, Geo, because my son, it's his last few months of primary school, It looks like he might not get to finish primary school. He might just start straight secondary school, and he don't get to see all his friends again. And he's got quite upset about it. And I just said, look, I'm sure the headmaster will get everybody back together at that school before you do another party or something like that. So even though the season don't get finished, they will. Things like that will get done because there is people understand, and people are generally nice and caring, and and they'll get him back together. They'll have a festival, David Silva Festival. I'm pretty sure they will, and have a massive testimonial type game for him.
Oi, Dickie says, do you think the delay may help England win the Euros?
No.
I think it'll give you a better chance, to be honest with you. I do think it'll give you a chance. Rice, Sancho, Greenwood, Mount, Tomori. You've got a lot of youngsters who'll have that extra year experience. Do I think you'll win it? Possibly not. The other thing is you've got injuries. Rashford and Kane were injured heading into this summer, so I think you could be worse off with injuries, I guess. But I get what he's saying. I agree with his intent. Isaac, we all know his second name. He's got a naughty second name.
He is naughty.
Mr. Hunt. Mr. I. Hunt says, if the season is voided, should David Moyes still get his £2 million bonus? Isaac goes on to say he hopes he would, and he hopes he gives some of it to the NHS.
No, I don't think he should. I don't think he would. I think you'd have to come up with a compromise there when the whole club's struggling. But I'd like to say to him, look, David, it's look, everyone's taking a wage cut. We're having to plough some money back into the club here. Look, clearly you're our man. For when the season starts, whenever that might be. So literally, you're on a retainer with us whenever football gets back on its feet. You're starting the next season with your team and Nolan and Irvine and all the rest of it. But we can't afford to give you the £2 million. Can we come to a compromise? I'm sure he would.
I'd offer him a little bit, something like that, because technically he hasn't kept us up, has he? The pandemic has kept us up. So yeah. He's not really done that. And if we were mathematically safe, I'd say he deserves it, because he has kept us up regardless of what happens. But that's not the case here. However, are we playing Premier League football next season if the season gets cancelled? Yes, we are. So in theory, he's half done his job. So I would give him a compromise. I don't know, $500,000 or something.
There's also something you've got to take into account. All of these contracts and these bonuses are all written and formulated and signed upon with a view to next season. We will be getting X amount of money from the TV companies, X amount of money from the season ticket holders. All that's gone out the window now. So every contract is slightly different. I just think everybody, we discussed ourselves and our season ticket money. Everybody's going to have to adjust. There's going to be less money in football when it starts up again.
Yeah, and David, last one on YouTube, and there was another one. from HL 2002, but it's quite an in-depth one about who you'd sell and who you'd buy. We'll do that in another video, a bit more specific. But David Trevitt says, "Hi guys, football isn't even in my head at the moment. Haven't even watched the stuff the club have put out on YouTube. Am I in the minority?"
Oh, you're just yourself, Dave. You're just yourself. That's.
I think lots of people are like him. To be honest with you, I think there's loads of people just switching off from football.
Look, I mean, you got a choice, really. You don't actually have any choice of any competitive sport. My mate phoned me up the other day, and he said, "Oh, such and such is on." I can't even remember what it was. And and he said, "Are you going to watch it?" I said, "No, not really." I said, I've got no interest in sport where I know the result. But a large part of my sport is being competitive. That's why I don't like runaway leaders in leagues. I hate watching uncompetitive sport. I like to watch a game of whatever it might be, a race, a game of something or other, and not know the winner's going to be. Watching something happen a few years ago, I already know the result, has never appealed to me. That's all that seems to be going on with it at the moment. If Dave's switched off and is deciding to watch a bit of Netflix or whatever, do a jigsaw puzzle or read a book or whatever he's doing, I totally understand. I don't think he's on his own, as you were about to say, Gio.
It's routines, isn't it? People's routines are used to stuff, so they might sit down on a Thursday evening knowing, for example, the Hammers Chat will do their preview for the upcoming weekend match, but they don't do that on a Thursday anymore. They probably don't even know when Thursday is. They probably don't even know this is Wednesday or Thursday whenever they're listening to it. I'm the same. I've been doing my days on what I'm doing. So last Wednesday was Sunderland Until I Die Day because it came out, and then the Friday was Money Heist Day. Sunday nights are Homeland Day now. It's not Sunday, it's now Homeland Day. My schedule's just gone. Sometimes I have to check. I've got a work call tomorrow morning, and I'm generally paranoid I'm going to miss it because I'm going to forget what day it is, not the time. I'm just going to forget it's Thursday. So it's just routine. Routine is whoosh out the window, and that ties in. Right, YouTube live chat, Mixie. If any Premier League club goes bust, who do you think will be first?
Oh, that is. I don't know enough about the ownership. It's about either be consortium led or led by somebody whose company is at risk. So if we look at Newcastle, Mike Ashley's worth 1.5 billion. How much that is tied up with Sports Direct. If Sports Direct go bust, does that impact Newcastle? It's going to have something to do with that. With West Ham, ironically enough, the fact that we don't own our own stadium is probably keeping us all right in terms of overheads. The fact that our owners' money is tied up in property's going to go down a little bit, but it's still a relatively safe place to have your money. We'd probably be all right. I don't know enough about overseas money, to be perfectly honest with you. Clearly, people I know it's Sheffield United saying what Sheffield United are going to make a massive loss, but Sheffield United have got some very rich backers, so they're going to be fine. I mean, you mentioned Burnley the other day, didn't you, Gio? I mean, it might turn out to be something like that.
Burnley are the best run club in the league, and by rule of thumb, because they've posted 3 years of profit, successive 3 years of profit with their club accounts, but they warned that come August, they've run out of money. That's it. August is their deadline kind of thing. I know Bournemouth, they've got a decent backing. However, Bournemouth are the club that rely the most on TV money. So you take TV money away, and suddenly they've not really got much income at all. Well, I don't think any Premier League club will go bust. I just think that they're massively going to struggle, and that's why I still think this, and I've said it to you again, I'll say it again and again. There's an opportunity this summer. If any owner does have surplus cash, or they've got enough, they can really make a statement, and they can then chuck in 50 million to go invest in players. I think you can leap the Premier League. I think you can go from 14th to 7th next season quite easily if you're willing to throw the money in the pot kind of thing and take advantage of other clubs struggling. The only problem is it's not going to look very good when clubs are going to be going bust in the lower leagues and you're chucking 30 million on a player. But I think you've taken the correct procedures. If you haven't placed your staff in furlough, if you have paid paid your players as much as you can, if you have helped out the community, I actually think you can then go and buy a player and say, well, hang on a minute, we've done everything right here. We have done everything correct. We are within our right. Spurs will have a hard time to go buy a player in the summer after furlough and their staff, and then they've been training in the park when we were on lockdown. They're doing everything wrong as far as they're concerned. So I do think there's an opportunity there. Let me just scroll up. The live chat's going. Keep your questions coming. If I miss them, just copy and paste it, please. Richie Von Rock. Richie says, if there was a possibility to play a handful of games for next season, would you want to see the FA Cup finished?
The FA Cup?
Yeah.
I don't care, Richie, about the FA Cup. We're not in it, quite frankly. And obviously that is a selfish decision, but we are, we're a West Ham channel in that sense. I guess maybe you're asking, would I want to see something just in terms of some entertainment? I only want to see something if the players in it are comfortable playing in it. I don't want anyone to feel strong-armed or forced into something that they feel is going to put them in danger. Just for my entertainment, I've already sort of conceded to myself. I'm going to be reading a lot of books and watching a load of crap on telly anyway. So, but the FA Cup, no, I wouldn't say that is particularly exciting. But I would look forward to when something happens, mate. Certainly.
No, I wouldn't play it. I wouldn't play the FA Cup. I don't want to say it's pointless. It's not pointless. If you were in it, I can understand why you'd be pulling your hairs out. But I just think it's insignificant. There's no repercussion. I keep saying the word repercussion because that's what I think is important here. What is the repercussion of this decision they're going to make? What's the repercussion of cancelling the FA Cup? 8 teams left in it don't get an opportunity of winning the cup. No one loses out financially. If anything, you could argue it's better because there is still some money from the FA Cup you could probably put into the EFL pot or something. You could move the money around a little bit. What do you do with the Europa League spot? That's where it gets a little bit interesting. Well, you're just going to have to keep what you've got this season in terms of European football. But I think you can get away with scrapping the FA Cup. Just score it off and forget about it. And there's no repercussions. Unlike relegation and stuff, there is massive implications there. That's got to be priority. The FA Cup's way down the list. David G. Hammer Dave Goodyear says, do you think Fabianski would have saved Gerrard's equaliser in the FA Cup final?
I mean, it's such a long way out, Dave. Hope you're well, by the way, mate. It is such a long way out. Yeah, I mean, quite possibly. It's I don't know. It's hard to pin the blame anywhere other than on Scaloni for that one, isn't it? Really. I still can't believe it. Still, we were having such a good day. We were all jumping up and down. We thought we'd won it. Great stadium that was as well. But I still can't get over quite how far out he was. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't think he would have saved it. It was just pinpoint. It's just one of them, isn't it? He just hits it on the sweet spot and it just flies. Saying that, though, Fabianski is... That's what he does. That's the type of shots he does save. Possibly. There's a couple of people, Ben, and there's someone else as well. I've just missed it. Ben and that saying, Ben and James, have you seen DiCanio's Sky Sports interview?
No, sorry. I saw him doing Keep Me Up in his garden.
I see clips. I've only seen the bits of it. He's basically saying Sir Alex Ferguson rang him up on Christmas Day to try and sign
I read
in.
it. Sorry, yes, I read it.
He basically said, no, I'm not going anywhere. Thank you, I appreciate it. I'm staying at West Ham. I am captain of West Ham. See, I was never... I don't know. When he was linked with Man U, do you know when he goes linked with Man U back then? I was never convinced he would fit in well at Man United for a long period of time. And it's not talent, it's just his behaviour. Because Fergie, that's the type of players Fergie used to boot out of the club ASAP. As soon as they started acting up, Fergie used to sell them. And I used to think, like, he would just...
Yeah, but I mean, Cantona was a bad... when we brought Cantona in from Leeds, Cantona was a lot like DiCanio. I could have seen that working, actually. It was... Yeah, I wasn't surprised that Fergie, was after him, and of course that was after the old Barthez goal, the old staying on side goal. Remember the t-shirts? Fabian Barthez says staying on side. So he had him dressed up like John Travolta. Yeah, I could have seen it.
Forsheezy makes a good point. You were saying about, we were talking about what club would go bust, and he was saying Watford because they've got their Italian owners and their economy's obviously taken back then. But they've also warned us. The Watford owners did speak up and say Premier League's in trouble here because they obviously own Udinese as well. And I think
and Granada.
There's
a Spanish club. Yeah.
So they're obviously looking at it. They'll be thinking we can't do this here. I don't think they'll go bust. I don't think Watford will go bust, but I wouldn't be surprised there's some sort of impact at Watford. That's one club that probably needs investment as well, actually, in terms of it. The summer was to open as normal. They'd be thinking, crikey, we've only just survived relegation here, and we need to get a couple of players in. Don't know. There we go. That's them going down next season. Charlie, Mr. Walsh. Charlie says rank Maccadees, Burger King, and KFC.
Well, obviously, KFC is the number one in that. Burger King do the best burgers. If you want the beef patty, they do the best burgers because they don't fry them; they char grill them. So it's basically barbecued, which is always a bit nicer, isn't it? But McDonald's do the best chips. Those monstrosities that KFC serve up are disgusting. Skin all over them and all the rest of it. Do you know what I mean? If I wanted that, I'd just eat a potato, wouldn't I? Do you know what I mean? I'd have a jacket potato. It's what we do is round the corner from here. Well, I say round the corner, not anymore. I don't. But there was McDonald's right next to KFC, like an industrial park thing. So if you're clever, if you time it right, you go and get your chips from KFC. Go and get your chips from McDonald's, and go and get your bits and pieces from KFC.
Yeah, I'm putting Burger King number one because of the burger thing. Their burgers are dead tasty. They're really, really nice. The XL bacon cheeseburger. Oh,
it's nice. It's a bacon double Swiss. What do you call it? A bacon Swiss cheese thing?
The XL bacon double cheeseburger. It's just big thing. Monster burgers. Well, that fills me up. I don't really need the chips once you make that burger. But then I want the milkshake from McDonald's. I want a milkshake from there, but with no paper straws. It's difficult to have a milkshake these days because of those straws. It's ruined the experience because you get about, I reckon, a 4-minute usage when you put it in and then the top closes. Because the milkshake, the way the milkshake is, because it's so thick, when you soak it up, when you get to the top, you sort of cut it off at the top. The bit in the straw stays in the straw because it's so thick, it doesn't just slide back down. Gravity does not play a part in your milkshake here. There's nowhere for it to go, so it stays in there, making the straw soggy, and eventually the top of the straw closes. Can't get your milkshake out. Honestly,
I don't think it feels very nice to paper straw in your mouth either.
No,
it's weird.
It's not good. They need to sort it. They need to do something. I'm gonna start kind of like a metal straw about with me. I think. Just you've not got a metal straw in your man cave.
I've got a plastic straw.
Yeah, well, that's unacceptable. Actually, the dolphins are struggling because of you.
Well, they're not. It's nothing to do with a dolphin. It is actually made out of dolphin hide. Actually, this one. So
you better hope Carlo Baskin has not gone into sea life as well, or you're in deep shit.
It's a multi-use straw. Funny enough, it's from one of the beakers that you take the lid off and all the rest of it.
You're going to be on your channel going, that Carlo Baskin coming for us.
I love that Carlo Baskin and the Tigers.
But what did she used to say? Hello, all you big kittens. What did she say, big?
She does some numbers. See her numbers, does some numbers on YouTube. That nutty husband killer.
Potential husband killer. Husband disappearance.
Yeah.
God.
He ain't nothing but kitty cat now. Yeah.
I hated her new husband for some reason. The one that's in the thing. I hated him.
So thick. Wake up, son. Wake up. Wake up.
I don't know. The thing is, I think he's actually piggybacking off her money in a way because he's a complete yes man. You can just tell he's massively. A complete yes man. I think he lives in his own cage.
Your wife's a psychopathic murderer, man. And she makes it do the thing, but she didn't pay her staff. She didn't pay her staff either, right? And she used to breed cats as well, and she's making out. Oh my
And then
goodness.
she's going on about how they only do it for money, yet she charges people to get into her rescue place.
Loads as well. It's
Do you
like
know? Do you know
60
the
or 70
giveaway?
dollars to go and
The best bit though, the giveaway bit was halfway through the series. Remember when Drew Exotic was filming something and a tiger got hold of his foot and when he let go, so he had to shoot next to it. And then when they asked Carol about it, she says, "Oh," and he was saying, "Someone's put something in my shoe." And Carol Baskin specifically said what it could be. She's like, "Oh, it's salmon juice or something." And she said, "Because if you put a jelly, they don't like it. They just play with it. But if you put that, they will eat it." And I thought, bloody hell, she's literally just telling us how the marinade for her husband's body. Put him in the larder, yeah, with the marble stone. That's it. He was in the larder for a little while.
You've got to get a blend when you're trying to make a man attractive to tiger. You've got to get a blend just right. You have to. The chicken's got to be from KFC. The milkshake has got to be from obviously McDonald's with a bit of beef, but it's got to be char grilled, of course, like Burger King. Look at it just right, yeah.
Something like that. Hammer 1999 asking if I'm going to shave my hair like you. No chance, not a chance. I will not suit a bald head. Gonzo, you suit it actually. You've I mean, there was a bit of a scare at the start when you came on because you didn't warn me. You just appeared on my screen, bald.
I think I'm cruel because I didn't tell anyone in the house. I just walked downstairs to the bin with the dustpan and brush with a pan full of hair. And actually, I managed to walk in the kitchen and back out again without anyone noticing. I thought, oh, this is ridiculous. I went up the stairs, had a giggle, came back down. I thought, how many times I get into the kitchen without anybody noticing? And, yeah, so I quite like the shock value.
Yeah, I'm used to it now. You suit it. You still do look like Jesse Pinkman. I'm pretty convinced my initial reaction of Jesse Pinkman was on the money. There. Anyway, we'll start wrapping that up. We've been going for over an hour now. That's a question to you.
Go on.
I was just asking, do you want to start wrapping it up?
Yeah. But go if there's a question for me or whatever, 3 or 4 more. I don't know, whatever, mate. I'm all right. All right, give it another 5 minutes, mate. Go on, crack on.
Well, Ben Davies is asking if you speak Scottish. It's more aimed at me, but it's a question. Can you speak Scottish?
What? There is actually a Celtic Scottish language?
No, it's just words that we would replace with some of your words, for example. So,
like what?
So, if I said to you, fit like, you can take a guess at what that means, surely.
Well, fit like. Do you mean? Am I in relatively decent shape?
No, that's not what I'm talking about, my friend.
I don't know. What?
It means how are you?
Fit like.
So someone says fit like, that means how are you? Yeah.
Fit like Jimmy. Hey Jimmy, fit like.
Something like that. Yeah. Why not?
Hey, fit like. What else we got?
Well, I don't know. Raid. If I said, I'll give it away here, but doing the raid.
Down the road.
Yes. Well, obviously
doing the raid.
What else? I'm trying to think what else the people would actually use quite often still. So they might say, if we were going, I suppose if you were going somewhere, I might say to you, see us a tenner. Give us a tenner. It's usually to do with like smoking or something, isn't it?
Do you tone it down?
What for you?
You get on the old plane. Well, I say for me, for the old listeners, for when you come down to the match or anything. Do you tone it down?
I've always spoke English.
English.
My grandparents used to speak Scottish, and I still meet a lot of people. It's particularly because I'm northeast Scotland here. There is still plenty of people that do speak Scottish, and if you go into a shop and there's old people behind the counter or something, they're usually gonna speak Scottish at you. But there's other words as well. There's just slang. It's like in Edinburgh they tend to call females hens. That really annoys me.
But see, Edinburgh's not like where you are. I mean, you're right proper in Scotland.
Yes.
Because as you know, my wife's dad was 80 miles north of you. I know it up there, Fraserburgh and all the rest of it up there. Edinburgh's, that's almost England, really.
Yeah,
they're pretty much Geordies in Edinburgh.
If you want Scottish, go to Glasgow. Glasgow's even I struggle sometimes. Even I need a bit of a translator to interpret the Glaswegians. Even I'm a bit rough. But my mum always just brought me up to speak, because there is. I think my generation is probably the generation that is starting to fade out a little bit, because you still get kids now. They'll look at a cow and they'll call it a coo. So a cow's coo, and it's like, well, you're not going to get away with that all your life, are you? Eventually, you're going to have to call that cow. So yeah, I was.
But do they reverse it? So rather than saying moo, do they say meow?
No, I'm afraid not. No. But yeah, that's a small Scottish one. Someone's saying, "Can I say burglar alarm?" There you go, burglar alarm. Does that sound different?
I think want them rolling of the tongue, burglar.
That's Glaswegian.
That's what I want. That's what I want you to say.
Yeah, you remind me of Jack, mate, when he tried to do bully on the If I Was Moyes when he was. What did you say? Do you want a cookie? He was just like, no, that's it there. But anyway, there's any more questions, get them in. We'll start wrapping it up though. Now we're in 15 minutes. Good value for your cup of tea tonight. Tomorrow night we've got FIFA coming out. We play each other again. The West Ham route.
Be Newcastle.
Yeah, West Ham v Newcastle. Tune in to see who's West Ham. Tune in to see who, if someone wins. There's definitely action at the end again. There's always action at the end of our matches. The last 2 minutes of virtual FIFA, there's always something that happens. Always.
There's a lot of shouting. I'll give you that much. I'll tell you.
The last game, I got my last minute winner. There's action again in the last minute of this one. More action.
That was very wrong.
Oh, get over it. Come on. But we've got some new content coming up. You ran me up with a good idea yesterday from one of our subscribers. That was a good.
Yeah.
From
Dom. I've tested one of them on Patreon today as well.
Yeah.
He come up with 2 or 3 really cracking ideas, and not just that, he's willing to do some of the legwork and the graphics and the artwork for us as well, which is brilliant. Thank you.
Here's one for you. This would be interesting to see what you say. Hammer 1999. He's obviously gone away from my haircut idea. Would you rather defendly be West Ham against Rangers or West Ham against Celtic? What would you prefer?
I've got no particular preference, to be perfectly honest with you. Maybe we'd have more chance of beating Rangers. I don't know, but yeah, maybe Rangers got Stephen Gerrard there and Jermaine Defoe and the little nutty geezer up front. Someone told me off for calling people nutty. It's a turn of phrase. I'm not saying everyone. They told me off. Said you're not respecting people with mental illness. I do. My wife runs a charity for people that are struggling with mental illness. But so please excuse me. It's a turn of phrase. But he's still a little nutty geezer up front. What's his name?
Morelos.
The one that keeps getting sent off. Yeah.
Morelos.
Yeah. Maybe Rangers. I couldn't tell you too much about us. I don't know what's called in Scotland. Celtic. But they've got that little geezer. Funny enough, his name's Dembele as well. They've got a Dembele, 16 years of age. He's meant to be the best player in the world at his age group or something.
Yeah, but I either or really. They're both bring massive followings. They will sell out half the stadium. Celtic and Rangers fans, whichever one come down. They both make an absolute racket. It just depends what you want to hear sung, I guess. That's pretty much it. Pick what you want to see sung. It could get a bit tasty, but right, good atmosphere. They'll be down in the they'll treat it like a cup final, to be honest with you. And that's no disrespect to them. It's just because they'll make a day out of it. Get down to London first thing in the morning and fill up the pubs around Stratford. And usually it's sunshine at that time of the year as well. What are you smiling at?
Well, we'd know the lingo, wouldn't we, if they came down and setting up all the burglar alarms and all that murder and all that sort of stuff.
Fantastic. Right, we shall leave it there. If you've enjoyed this video, drop a like on it, subscribe if you're new around here, check out our patrons if you can. Also, we realise it's a very difficult time for everyone, but it's the best time in terms of value to become a patron, because you get the month of April, you get like 3 weeks left of April, and that's why we don't promote it towards the end of the month, because it's the worst time of value, but we realise it's not a good time in terms of life to be signing up to such a thing. But if you wish to support us, check out patreon.com/HammersChat. But anyway, that's been Gonzo. I've been Geo. We've been Hammers Chat, and we shall catch you in a little bit. Thank you. Goodbye.
Tatty bye.